Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one opinion source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola as he sounds off on the latest movies, TV, music, gaming, comic books, and more. Now, here's the man of the hour, Marco Mazzola.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I am your host, Marco Mazzola, and I am joined. We have three guest hosts today. We'll go around the table. Most of who we know. Say hello, Mila.
Hello.
And we have Larry.
Hey, how you doing?
And our first time is my cousin, Bruno.
How's everybody doing?
We're good, but we don't talk about Bruno. All right, today, gang, we are going to be talking all things Matrix. So we're going to work over all four movies, not just the newest one. All right, we'll just kind of go around, get everybody's take on the series. We'll just sound off. Who's seen all four?
I have.
Larry has.
I have.
Bruno has.
I have seen the first two movies.
No surprise there for Mila. We know Mila's with her homework.
I'm always just like one or two movies or episodes or something behind.
Yes, that's why we love Mila. So, all right. I've also seen all four. I watched the fourth one. Took me, I think, 3 tries.
Yeah,
two sleepies and two sleepies, and then I finally finished it.
Yeah, I asked you a couple times if you had seen it, and you were like, "Yeah, I fell asleep 20 minutes in."
Yeah,
like, what?
And there was like another maybe 30 minutes after that.
I didn't think it was too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't. I wouldn't say horrible.
No,
I don't know that it didn't hold up to the first one.
Oh,
No.
my God,
Nothing could hold up.
No.
But I still think it was better than the third one. Like, if I had to rank. The third one was
We can get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Talk about it. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Mila. You've seen one.
1 and 2, or just one?
Well, in one's case, the first one, when I watched that for the first time, I had already known like a lot of stuff about the Matrix. You know, it's like it was common knowledge, like Luke, I am your father comment. But the thing is, when I watched it, that didn't make it any less exciting. I was like, this is so much better than I thought it would be. It was like the coolest thing. And then when I went into the second movie knowing that like you should probably think about like the second and the third movie as like
as one.
Yeah, just one long
So
movie.
when I thought about that, I wasn't bugged about the end. So I was like, oh, that was awesome too. Like as long as there's like those cool Matrix fight scenes, I'm like, this is so cool. This is cool.
It was pretty revolutionary, especially at the time. The first movie
changed photography and videography.
The 360
bullet
shots, the bullet
slow
time
motion
going around.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely part of it for me. Like Mila said, is when the first one came out, it took me by surprise actually, because I was like, wait, Keanu Reeves? You mean Bill and Ted Keanu Reeves? And that's the guy that we're gonna get behind. And I saw this movie and I was like, holy, this thing blew me away. Like you said, just the cinematography with the bullet, with the bullet TV and stuff like that. And it was just unbelievable. I love the first one. The characters that they brought in, I think absolutely they became those characters, right? Like Morpheus is Lawrence Fishburne. Like that's Morpheus. Same thing with Keanu. He made Neo. Neo is like you can't. Like they made those roles so dynamic that you can never recast.
It was well cast.
And
Even though they did on the fourth one.
And I'm gonna get to that when we get to
there's
the.
a story.
There's a reason behind it.
There's a reason.
I was like, what?
we'll get into that when we hit part 4, I guess. But I mean, the Matrix as a whole. Matrix. The first one is probably one of my top 5 movies of all time.
Right, because you were telling me when you were about to watch the fourth one, you were just like, put everything aside that nobody else exists, this movie's happening, you couldn't wait. Did you go to the theater?
I went to the theater first night out.
You went to the theater to see that. How long did it take you to fall asleep? Those chairs are comfy.
Those chairs are so comfy.
They're quite the reclining,
chairs.
It's.
I'd have been out as soon as I hit.
I didn't think the fourth story was sleepy. I thought it evolved slowly, which I appreciate because a lot of times they just blast through character development, they blast through the story development, and they just kind of get into the grit of it. So I thought they did an okay job. My criticism with the fourth one has more to do with the story itself and how they wrote it, but we can get into that.
Yeah.
So what do you mean?
So when I saw the first one, like Larry, I was blown away, right? Awesome change in the videography style, the whole blue-green, the red pill, blue pill, the whole concept of the, choice being, out there, the way they implemented it, the Matrix concept itself, amazing, right? And then, so at the end of the first movie, you finish up with Wake Up from Rage from the Machine, and you walk out of that theater like you want to literally jump off a building yourself and just
fly.
right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like so well done from start to finish. And so, and then I feel like they got into that story. They were like, oh, this is a huge hit. And what do we do next? Like, I don't know. Maybe they did. I think they said that they had a plan, but it didn't feel like it was a well thought out plan.
It felt rushed to me. That's 2 and 3 felt rushed.
Yeah, 2 and 3 felt like, whoa, we got to come up with a follow up because this was such a huge hit.
Right.
And so, and we
need it quickly because nobody wants to wait.
Yeah, they don't want
Back
to wait
to the
20
Future
years.
long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that tends to be a lot of sequels tend to fall into that trap.
Back to the Future did that.
Oh, yeah.
2 and 3 came out a long time after number 1.
Yeah.
And people were like, what the hell's going on? So they took this one out.
And
quick.
but I mean, they clearly had like, we're going to continue this story because like he was like, all right, I know who I am now, and he flies off into the sky. So I get that. And then I don't know if you want to get into story 4 yet, but
we can just jump around because we're going to talk about all 4. So jump around all you like.
So my criticism with the 4th one is that it felt like a money grab, right? It felt like it was. They're going to be like, we're going to do this whole meta thing where we're just going to talk about the Matrix within the Matrix, and then they're going to use bullet time, which didn't make any sense. Like what the hell was he talking about? Like using bullet time against you? Like, so that Mila's going to be totally lost here, but
okay.
Don't worry, I'm keeping with it. Don't worry.
Doogie Howser himself was now basically the architect of the new Matrix.
He
was
became
awesome.
the new architect. He did a good job. I agree. He did a great job. But why was he so killable? Why wasn't he super powerful? Why wasn't he? So the other thing that I had an issue with, which a lot of like newer sequels do, they make the mistake of like not maintaining the consistency in like the power abilities of things, right? So
lazy. We call it
power
lazy writing.
scaling.
Lazy writing.
yeah, super lazy
Yeah.
writing. So why was Keanu all of a sudden like force pushing everybody?
Yes.
What the hell was that?
He got Jim's Jedi
Right?
powers.
He's
while
like,
he was-
you know what?
he
I'm
was
just
asleep.
gonna we're gonna do this force push thing. And if you're the one,
He was force pushing
why
people
aren't
all over
you?
the place.
Well,
Really?
why aren't you the one again? Why don't you just? It's not like he, like initially when they woke him up, he's like, I don't know who I am. I got to get my bearings. Get it.
But that was kind of part of the choice, wasn't it? When they almost like a trick, didn't they? Like kind of trick him, saying, "All right, we're gonna." When they killed him in the first and the third movie,
Right.
and they're like, but basically they stuck him, they revived him and stuck him back in the Matrix.
Right.
Yeah, but like so in
kinda
the
keep
fourth
it going.
in the fourth movie when they woke him up, I get that he wasn't like all super powerful right away, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're kind of getting back to getting your feet wet again, right? But then by the end of it, like why was
You should have your act together.
Yeah, you should have your powers back. And why was Trinity flying and he wasn't able to fly? Like where did
It was
Yeah,
where
odd.
did that
yeah,
come
wait,
from?
I think,
What?
they definitely, and their arc, and they sort of like, woman power, like she's now
So
the
that's
all powerful,
great,
which
right?
is fine.
Hey,
but they did that all
but
like,
there's
they
no
basically
story.
gave him the 3-fingered salute. They reset him.
Yeah, but
put him back in the Matrix,
Yeah, but
and he had
if
to
you
relearn
remember
everything.
the first few Matrices, it wasn't like they could stop him from being Neo. He's the one that, as soon as he realized who he was, all of a sudden he's like, I got all these powers. That's me now. You cannot stop me, robot world. And so, like in the fourth one, he was like, yeah, I kind of lost my mojo.
Yeah.
I can't do that shit
I
anymore.
can't do that, and I'm going to force push everything for the last 25, 35 minutes.
Yeah,
It's the
you
only
can
thing I
force
got.
push, but you can't fly. Why?
Yeah.
So give me a story reason, right? Like, all right, okay, maybe this is where we want to go with it, but why in the story? Where so they let Trinity fly, but why in the story? Show me. Give me. Did she develop something because of the resurrection? Did she come
It
up?
kind of
with,
seemed like that. She
Yeah,
developed the fact
I mean,
that she could now see the Matrix code within the Matrix.
Yeah, but like
She started to see it. Remember, she started to see, like in the
But
clouds. and
I
that.
see what Bruno's saying because they just gave it to her, right?
Yeah,
there
and you're
was
like,
no-
and there's
Tell
no
me why.
development.
She never
Tell
earned
me
it.
why.
And we
Right.
were we were talking about this the other night, and I think that the reason why is because, as the Neil Patrick Harris's character was saying, that together they were so powerful, right? And that's how he
again,
recreated.
why?
Because love
Right,
conquers
because of
all.
love. But
All right,
mention
apparently.
Wait,
Love
am I hearing?
conquers
I'm
all.
hearing that like power of friendship thing going on,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the power of love.
Straight
It's the
up.
power of love,
man.
absolutely. So, and I think that that's
Shit,
kind
was it
of
Huey
That's one of my
Lewis says
favorite
the
reasons
power
for
of
things to
love.
That's
happen.
right.
So I think that that's the way. So when they were recreating the Matrix because of raw emotion and love, and they were together, and I think that she kind of just absorbed some of what Neo had.
Yeah.
So now she becomes, just as powerful. And I think that.
But that's become essentially a fan theory, right? That's your theory. You're a
absolutely.
fan, and so
that's
you're
what I think
kind of
that's
like.
what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You're doing these mental gymnastics to be like, and it's
Instead of having it
not a
being
criticism
told to me by the movie, right.
It should have
Yep,
been.
yep.
It's lazy writing, right?
Yeah, it's only
tell me
allowing
why.
fan
About that.
theories.
We talked about
Tell
that
me why
before.
in your world, because this is the world you're creating, Lana Wachowski. Why did that happen? Why is that a thing? Right.
Right.
That's my bigger issue.
So yeah, and I think we've talked about that before. It's like we don't watch the movies between scenes. Like you got to put it on the scene. You got to put it on the screen for me to believe it.
I mean,
you gotta tell me what's going on.
I don't mind a little bit of thinking, right? Because you're like, all right, why did that happen? All right, that makes sense. It works. But there's so much of it that they were kind of like, yeah, I don't know. We're gonna let her fly.
So one thing,
Screw it. We'll let the fans figure it out.
You might know differently. One thing I believe I read this, that she didn't really want to do it. The studio kind of like forced her to redo this and write it. She
Really?
didn't really
I was
want
wondering
to.
about that.
And her sister opted out completely. She said, no, I don't want to do it at all. So I forget the sister's name. It's Lana, and I forget the other one. My apologies.
The other one.
The other one. But Lana didn't want to really do it. So they kind of like forced, like strong armed her into doing this one. So she kind of like wrote it on the fly, like, there you go, it's all you got. And that's all they did. So that's what they came out with.
You're talking about Lana Wachowski's sister did not want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that the
so
sister didn't
That's
want
why
to
it was
do
only
yeah.
her. That's only Lana was the only one who did it.
So so that's probably why it was so meta. When in the movie itself they were like, they're going to do it no matter what.
Yeah.
Whether we participate or not. So she
Yep.
maybe I wonder if that
Yeah,
was
she kind of wrote it in there.
Yeah.
She was
she
kind
was
of
like,
like a little fuck you to you. That's what we're doing.
I mean, no, for nothing.
I mean, you
felt
gotta
like-
have one of those
Super
eventually if you're being made to do it.
And I also read today, like, it basically bombed, like essentially theatrically. So now that's kind of killed any hope for a 5. Because he said, like, even
probably
Keanu
for the
said, if
best.
they want to do a 5, I'm up for a 5. But at this point, they've any future projects, TV or movie wise, they've kind of like at this point have killed it. There's no interest in doing it.
The way I feel too is with part 4. I feel like the whole movie was that it wasn't just we're gonna make a movie to entertain and just this crazy like world and thought. It was like everything is some sort of message being shoved down your throat for something.
But it was always kind of like that, though, don't you think?
Yeah, but I felt
the first one was like
yeah, but it was always
That's
I
so
was more
like
entertained in the
meta
first
that
one,
you're like,
though.
oh wow, that sounds
That's
really
kind of the point.
deep, but
You
I
were
don't really know what that
entertained in the first
means.
one.
Yeah, I mean, I was entertained with even though
Yeah.
it was full of meta. This one, it was completely meta, and I'm like, oh, we're just gonna say things just because now.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
That's true.
I'm kind of checked out.
That's what I did 3 times.
Look, just give me a good fight scene. I need
least
to.
one.
Just like, and then
But
I'll
The
be
fight
fine.
scenes weren't even that great.
They
weren't.
weren't.
so
They
were
weren't.
terrible.
That's
They were
like
terrible,
the best
weren't
thing
they?
about one of the best things about the
It was
Matrix,
the
other
fight
than
scenes,
the
yes.
concept of
Sucked.
it, is the fight scenes. And there's not. You're telling me there's no good fight scenes in that movie?
There are some fight scenes, but they're not good.
Oh no!
Well, even when he was
Partially-
training with the new Morpheus was halfway
Yeah, that was
decent,
slow.
but then he explodes the whole
Well, then they just let
area,
him
but then he
finish.
never uses that again.
Oh.
Like, he feels like he never has
No, he
that
did.
level of power
He
again.
did use it again. He used it later
Oh.
when what was he doing?
Was getting chased by everybody.
Yes, yeah.
The
he's
the
he
massive
had like
horde.
the Captain America force shield over his arm when he's like people kind of jumping onto the bike.
Yeah.
He's just force shielding them
He
across
did
the
use
way.
the blast again.
That was weird.
and again,
Yeah, in the bar when all the cops were there, right?
Yes,
When they-
that's
he kinda,
right.
He was like, it was like his Hulk
That's right.
busting out.
Yes.
again,
It was kind of like that, but it still didn't seem like. I mean, when he was in that building with Morpheus, he just destroyed. He leveled the whole building.
Yeah.
Well,
He leveled
that was
building,
raw
like,
emotion, though. I
Right.
think that helped him get through that, and the
But
whole.
you would think with Trinity right there, he'd have that raw emotion, if
Yeah.
not more, because he's right there trying to save her.
I
He'd
think
have
that
raw
they're
emotion
just
to destroy everything.
there was a
in his
lot
sight.
of misses in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was
Too many.
and it was a lot of misses, Mila. And the thing that really sucked was in the first 3 movies we see the agents how they take over somebody as a new host, and this one like they kind of explain why they don't do it anymore.
I didn't like that.
I didn't
What?
either.
Yeah,
They
it
don't
was-
do that anymore. Why
No.
not?
They do it, but not the
They-
same way.
they
It
do
was
it the
kind
same
of like
way. It's
anybody.
It's called swarming.
Swarming,
Yeah.
yeah.
And,
anybody
because
that's still
because
plugged
that
in.
wasn't efficient.
It became like World War Z.
What?
Do you guys remember
Yeah.
the quick running zombies in World War Z? All of a
Yeah.
sudden, like the whole city's out to catch you, and it felt it felt a little less like
Yeah,
I'm worried
it
about
was-
it. That it was just like, all right, we're just going to see a bunch
The
of
original
people throwing themselves
they
at you.
explained it as the
no.
original way wasn't as efficient.
What?
You couldn't, you couldn't like turn people as quickly to becoming agents to catch. You know what I mean? So now,
now
it's like
all of a sudden they just become swarmed.
Because remember when they did it originally, it was like one or two at a time.
Yeah.
somebody would take over. Now it's like an entire city block. Like, hey, we're all agents.
Like you go,
instantaneously.
all right.
Yeah, it was good,
Yeah, I mean, they
And
basically
boom, hit the easy button.
become just killer bots, right? They just basically became.
Yeah, and it explains
Just a
how
bunch
that
of-
happens, and it's like, oh, well, that's
Yeah.
thank you for the explanation of the
Super
lazy
lazy.
writing.
It
Super
was-
lazy, super
the-
lazy.
It was literally
Thank you
just,
for that.
it was inefficient.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. There's a lot of Captain Exposition in this one. Like, and it kind of has to be because there's so much going on and there's so many and if you have history with your first three, so much did change as to
Yeah.
how the Matrix works. You had to explain it, otherwise people were like that didn't happen in the first one.
Yeah.
That can't happen in the
I-
Matrix.
I have a
so they had to
question.
explain all the differences.
I have a question. So, since I've seen the first and the second one, should I watch the third and or fourth?
You
Third
should
one,
watch the
yes.
third.
Third
That-
one
it wraps
and
up
and the
story.
fourth one
Yeah.
is just not worth it. Just
Unless
don't bother.
You have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's
Unless
just
you're
nothing
really
Which most of the time
aching
I-
for more like Matrix
haven't-
story, although I wouldn't
although,
bother. I wouldn't
although
bother.
from what it sounds like, I should probably just
I
Not.
look at the fourth one as the sequel that nobody asked for. But as soon as it got announced, it was like, "Oh my god!" Because
Yeah.
we have the guys that are like an
Yeah.
armor
It
age
was
and stuff like
exciting.
that. It was awesome. I was so amped up
It was a
for it.
nostalgia
Yeah.
movie that just didn't work.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
It could have been really
It
good.
could have been 10 times better.
But then it
Batman
was
actually
just
wanted to
not.
do it.
Well, you know the
Yeah.
whole.
that
Might
would
have
have
put a little
helped.
more
I
effort
think that
into
would
it.
have helped.
What they
Certainly
should have
don't
done.
no maximum effort in this one.
I think what they should have done. You know how within the fourth one they talk about how the robots revolted essentially against themselves. It was a revolution. Why not make that movie?
Yeah, I
Why
would
not?
have been okay with
Honestly.
that.
Why not
Yeah.
talk about that?
Yes.
You know, and
That'd be
have
so-
Neo
so good.
either Neo be a part or not be a part of it,
Right.
or like do the resurrection thing and then have Neo be part of that movie. You could have still done that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what
that would
you
have
don't
been
know-
That would have been cool.
what he's saying you don't know is like the humans in the new Zion, which I forget what it's called.
Io.
IO.
There you go.
They're actually working with robots. So a lot of robots have revolted and they're now working with the humans. So they have a little bit more technology. And
Is this
able to
as of
do
the
other
third or
things.
the fourth movie?
The fourth one.
Okay.
Only the fourth one. So the
That's
robots are now
interesting.
since the original Neo, so like they kind of like the robots kind of woke up. Some of them were like, hey, this
Some
we,
of them
we kinda
realized we don't
suck.
want to be doing
Oh.
this.
Let's go. Yeah,
like
they
a
were-
kind of like weird Terminator moment ish.
Yeah, almost. They turned
Ish.
out. Yeah, they reprogrammed and now they're helping
It
the
actually,
humans.
It,
Oh.
you know what it was? It was
What?
Autobots and Decepticons.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Autobots work with the humans.
We got the Autobots and
Decepticons are like,
Decepticons.
they'll
and
roll
Matrix.
out.
And Decepticons said, we want
Autobots.
more power.
Yeah. So they stuck.
Roll out.
So some of the interesting things. So we're the. I mean, I want to say there are some positives to this movie. Maybe there's a couple.
Yeah, what
little
are some of the good things about this
glimpses,
movie?
'cause I don't think it was 2 hours of complete trash. Hour and 45 minutes. So you know, a couple of the parts that I liked. One, seeing Jada Pinkett Smith was back in it. Some of the characters they brought back. I thought was
that
kind
was
of
interesting.
fun.
I like that they went.
It wasn't just him. It wasn't just Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had Jada Pinkett Smith back in, an older version of her. She's now running IO. She's running the new Zion, basically. She's picked up. The Merovingians back in it. So they
Okay,
brought some of
can we talk about him?
Yeah.
Because he was one of my favorite characters
and
in the
boy, did
first
they
one.
bitch him out.
Oh my God.
Wait,
Yeah.
who
He
was the
Merovingian
Merovingian
was the
French
guy.
guy.
French guy.
Oh, the French guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like
So
the French
they
guy.
have a lot
Like,
of-
he was
he was
he was
so
someone you like
good.
to hate.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he was good at that. That was his point.
He was
Yeah.
You're supposed to love to hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you
so
just hated
now
him.
and now
Oh,
no, I don't
no.
even hate him. I was laughing.
useless.
Yeah.
I was like, what
What'd he
is
do?
going on? He's basically a raving mad French guy. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, did
But
you
he was
just-
what, an
did he just
obsolete
take-
program? He was an
he's-
obsolete
they're
program.
Exile.
obsolete programs.
Exile.
He was an exile
Exile,
program.
there
I
you
So
feel
all
like
the-
that makes sense for him to
all
be
the
like just
programs
this
that kind of-
raving French guy now because
I mean,
his like
the
girlfriend
programs
was
that didn't
like,
help
"You're
out,
useless."
basically. The programs that didn't help out in the first three were now exiled. Like you were useless.
Oh.
You didn't help, but
But
you
correct
made
me
it
if I'm
worse.
wrong. Wasn't he exiled already in the first one?
Yes,
He was kind
that's
of.
why he was there
I've
where
already
he
been
was.
sidelined.
Yeah.
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 Now he's even more so.
I'm
Sideline to
just-
They
exile.
put him on an old floppy.
I'm disappointed they made him like a mad, stark raving, mad, like homeless
Homeless
guy.
guy, yeah.
Was he, was he a homeless guy?
Were there any others? Were he the only? Because
Oh,
there's
no.
other guys, the bugs, like running around.
He's the only one
during
that I
that
remember.
warehouse scene.
I don't think there was anybody else.
I
I mean,
don't
they
remember.
said they
I
were
feel
all
like the
whatever.
key guy was in there, but I couldn't tell.
I think the key guy
No,
died.
the key guy died. They killed
Yeah,
him.
the key
Yeah.
guy died in the
Most
second
people
one.
died.
I know
He
that.
died. He
I was
died.
there.
Yeah.
The little girl,
That was cool.
that was
Since
a
he
cool
was in there.
turnaround.
She was
Since he-
really.
that's right.
I
That
thought that was
was
good. You
pretty
see
cool.
her older,
That was cool.
and she's helping
Oh.
them.
Yeah.
Because
That was
her
really cool.
father and Mother both got killed because they helped Neo and originally, so they got destroyed. And she was gonna get destroyed, but she hid
Right.
essentially.
Her-
so she comes back later.
Like butterfly robot hid her or something,
Yes. So she comes back later to
Well,
help out
that
because she
essentially
knows
is her.
how essentially to take out
She's
the
a
Matrix. She
program.
knows how to
Yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
okay.
because she lived through the first one and she knew.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
That was a
Great,
cool
we've got like
touchback.
2
Yeah.
tally marks of why it's good,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
like 50
I
on why it's
I know we
not.
want to shit on the movie, and we can do that for the next 40 minutes. But I think there was a couple of little bits.
One last criticism. They finished
Doesn't have
up
to
the
be last.
movie as they flew up into the sky again
Yes.
with a sound-alike Rage Against the Machine wake-up song.
Yes.
And I haven't had the time to look into what it was. But
I
it
don't
sounded
want to.
exactly like Wake Up. It was just like some
But they're not
different
going to use
lyrics.
the actual.
I know, but like
Probably because they
why?
can't get the money for it.
What-
I don't know why.
Do you think Lana was like, and here's the final FU. Boom. Sing the song again while they fly away.
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna
Oh
end
yeah.
it like we ended it. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think from what I read, kind of here and there, is everybody's confused about the ending of that movie. Everybody's like, wait, what happened? Why do they go to him? And I guess there's supposed to be more in depth to it. But then I looked at it, I was like, did I like the movie enough to want to find out?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Not
Do I
really.
happen
I'm
to
good.
care? No.
What's on
I wasn't
Yeah.
invested
Not really.
anymore.
And again, man, at the end of it, that really sucks because again, we all liked the Matrix movie. The first one was amazing, groundbreaking, made your mind split open, and you're trying to figure out like everything else that's involved. Again, part 2 and part 3, it's the same movie. Some people hated it because of it abruptly cut off in the middle.
Yeah.
They didn't transition it properly. So now you saw this great movie for part 2. It was kind of like lackluster in part 3.
Yes.
Not really realizing that 2 and 3 are actually it's just one
big
long
movie.
movie, right?
But
So
like,
They
so if you
just
think of it
didn't
as
do
a
a part
one-act,
one, part two
two-act
thing.
movie, the
Right.
second act sucked.
It did.
It was
But if you-
slower,
but
it
it
was-
was a lot slower. But if you put the whole thing
That fight at the
together,
end with all the Smiths. I mean, even
There's
at that
another
point,
one?
the scene. It's the whole world.
the whole world is a
Smith.
yeah.
Or
And
Smith. He
and
takes
you know
over
what?
everybody.
I'm okay with that too because again, it was the idea of this program that had broken away from the system and now it wants to rule everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
But
This
the
is pretty
inside of the
cool.
computer
I think
and
that's
outside the
neat,
computer
though.
world, it
Yeah.
wants to roll everything.
wants to rule
So he comes
everything.
Without
back in
context,
this
I think
movie.
that sounds neat.
He's back in this movie, but it's not Hugo Weaving. He don't want to do it again either.
Oh, what?
They brought in Jonathan Groff.
So they brought him back anyway?
Yeah,
as
but
a
it wasn't.
character?
Yeah, he's back, but it's Jonathan Groff. He was. If you've seen Hamilton, he played the king.
Okay.
He played
Oh.
King George. That's what it is.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That's why you recognize.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was good. I
did
thought
not.
he played a good character, but I
You see him
still
in Hamilton.
think
He looks very different. He's got the wig on.
yeah.
the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I was like, the guy from Hamilton, the king?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been in a bunch of stuff.
I can't stop ripping on this movie though.
It's okay. That's what we're here for.
So the last
Dude,
We are
Share.
23 minutes in. We got another 40 minutes to go.
Oh, we can go on. Just keep going.
So he did an amazing job of being Agent
Smith.
Smith. But you have to give credit to the original actor. I forget his name.
Hugo
Weaving.
Hugo Weaving, who did it. Who literally
Red Skull.
he defined Agent Smith, right?
Yes.
His delivery of
Yes, his cadence of the way he spoke.
Yeah, the tone.
He's got a British
his
accent, but he
cadence.
obviously gets rid of it for the movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was
And so he's just pulling out the British accent. And
again,
communicating
everything
the
about
slow
that first
speaking.
movie redefined like bad guys,
Yep.
good guys. So then when this guy came in, I felt like it was just kind of it didn't have the gravitas, right?
Yeah.
When you replace Neil Patrick Harris, with the guy who originally did The Architect, the
Colonel
architect's
Sanders, yeah.
yeah. The architect's cadence, right? His tempo, his delivery was very. I am the machine that runs
Yeah, it was very,
the
very
architect.
monotone.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a computer.
It literally
It was a computer
made
speaking at
sense.
you.
It felt right. Whereas Neil Patrick Harris was kind of like, yeah, I'm
Patrick
just a
Harris.
wise guy. I'm the new,
He's
I'm
a
the new
smart aleck,
generation.
yeah.
F this, and we're gonna do whatever.
I'm Neil Patrick Harris.
So again, it didn't have the.
Very
I
much.
think that was a miss. I think it could have been. I think the actors were good.
Yeah.
I think they should have done a little bit more with their delivery because I
Yeah.
think they could have. Both actors obviously have the range to do something better.
Yes.
So I feel like they could have done something really good, and I think that was a miss on the
Is that
story.
them
part.
or is it the director?
Director. I think
It's,
that's the
yeah,
director.
that sounds a lot more
The way
like the
it's
director
written.
because
when-
I.
especially when it's
Yeah,
not
the way
just
it's written.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a
You know,
director
it's,
issue.
It's not a
Yeah.
John Malkovich problem. You
You're right.
ever watch John
Right.
Malkovich and stuff? Love John Malkovich. You ever watch him in Man in the Iron Mask? He's the only idiot without an accent.
Yeah.
Like, that's your plan? Like, dude, everybody's French in this movie. try.
Try a little bit.
But
Even if it sounds
you watch
bad.
him in Rounders, and he's got the worst Russian accent ever in history. It's really bad. So it's like, okay, you know what? Don't try. Don't try. You suck
Maybe
at
that's
accents.
why.
Stick with Malkovich.
Yeah,
Stick with
just be Malkovich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like he was the one, but this was like a couple of guys who are just not pulling it.
Yeah.
So that's direction. Like you're just not getting what you need from them.
Yeah.
You know, so like, take two, sound like a computer because you're a computer.
Yeah.
They did, like,
I
Hugo
wonder if
Weaving
they just
was very
realized,
computer-like.
even them themselves were going, this movie is tanking. Let's just wrap this up as quickly as possible.
Like,
Just get
oh
it
my
in the
god!
can.
Oh, this is
we got
horrible.
it.
No, we're just gonna roll with this. We're gonna
Go with
let,
it.
let it go.
Let's
No,
assume
we
it's
got
going to
it.
work out.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
every
yeah.
scene was one take. Just
Yeah,
go,
it's
just
gonna
go,
work
just
out
roll
exactly
through. I
how
don't
we
care
think it's
anymore.
going to.
No cuts either. You
This
know
works.
what? It's extra long movie.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many movies that I've left. There are a couple that I've actually like gone to the movie theater, watched it, and went, yeah, I'm so done with this.
I want my money back. Yeah.
Independence Day was one of them.
First one or the new one?
No, first one.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I legit left. I was like,
See, I'm surprised
What?
because you can't assume that's ever going to be good.
I
No, I love the first one.
I
The
like-
second one was
I liked Independence Day. That was
Independence
pretty
Day
dope.
was entertaining.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
It was a
The
good
popcorn
entertaining movie.
movie.
It's a popcorn
Yeah.
movie. That's what I mean. Like I would have gone like, oh, this is really bad. I'm going to see how this finishes. Like, you know what I mean? I would have stuck around.
I love
But
movies
get
like
it.
that.
I get where you're
Every
coming
time
from.
I say that, people are like, oh my God, you walked out on Independence Day. I'm like, yeah, and I think I waited for like,
Why?
I
know
just-
what you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
why?
You
Because
do
it
this all
wasn't
the
a good
time.
movie. It was
But
not
why
a good
wasn't
movie.
it a good movie?
Thank
It
you,
was not
Ruth.
a good
It was
movie.
not a good
It wasn't.
movie.
But why? You're not wrong. I'm
Yeah,
not
why?
saying you're
Yeah.
wrong.
It was
didn't
bad
catch me.
because
like I'm sorry, it didn't keep me entertained.
Yeah.
Like I will give you probably about 20-25 minutes. If you don't have me within 25 minutes, I'll blow chunks, man. Because my time it's
an allergic reaction.
It's a 2-hour movie, right?
Getting an itch. You're getting an itch. I'm getting an itch.
26 minutes
You're gonna get
past.
that looked
and
at.
Am I breaking out? Am I breaking out right here?
It's a 2-hour
not so much
movie,
here or
man.
here, but right
Right here. No, ship shape.
It's a 2-hour movie. You need to catch, like, I'm not going to sit there for an hour, hour and a half and let you develop this whole story for a 20-minute action scene and then have it be done. I'm sorry. I can't do it for me. So that's how I felt with
So you
Independence
must have not
Day.
even bothered with the second Independence Day.
I mean, why would you?
After your raving
Yeah.
review of the first
I
one.
actually can't remember what if I didn't watch this. I don't think I did. To be honest, I don't.
It was the same aliens, bigger and better, with a more giant ship that was now the size of the Earth. It would encompass
sounds
the
dumb.
entire.
Yeah, that's
That sounds like the stereotypical way of
That
what the
sucks.
direction
Just
you
go
would
bigger.
go.
Yeah, just go
You're
bigger.
like,
That's what exactly
you're
it
like,
is.
oh
Like,
my
you
god,
know
that
what?
made so much
Let's build
money.
a
We should
bigger
make
Death
another
Star.
one.
Yeah,
What do
that's
we
exactly
do?
what.
Clever?
We built a
No.
bigger Death Star and Jedi, so then we had to build an even bigger one.
Right.
Right?
Wow, look at
Right.
that
So
creativity.
So bringing this all the way back, just like the what was it, The Last Jedi? What was the one that was the remake of The New Hope?
I always forget that. Which one was it?
What was the name of that one?
What?
It was basically number 7.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So the
Oh, that
seventh
was,
Star Wars,
Is that Force Awakens?
Force
Force
Awakens,
Awakens, yes,
was
thank you. I got it wrong
just
last
like that
podcast.
was
Yeah.
basically a rewrite of A New Hope.
Yeah, yeah. It was just a
I
new
feel
Hope
like
again.
Matrix
with a
4
giant
was a
Death Star,
rewrite
which
of
is a new
Matrix
word.
1.
But it wasn't even a
Essentially.
good one.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It wasn't
right.
even
Yeah.
consistent within the
It was
rules.
not good.
It wasn't consistent within
What
the
was
rules.
garbage.
basically,
No.
if I didn't,
It was
so I went
not
with 4
garbage.
other people. So I was with other people. And one of them came with me. If I was there by myself, I would have left.
Yeah.
I would have absolutely just said, I'm good. I know this is streaming on HBO Max.
The
guys are
second you
walking
hear
home.
I'm gonna go-
bigger Death
Yeah.
I
Star,
went to the movies
you
recently
leave.
with Mila.
No.
I learned my lesson. I go alone now.
I like to talk.
She fucking talks through movies.
Throughout the movie?
I want to
just-
slap.
I
I want to
just like to
smack her.
think about that.
I
Usually-
want to stick her
usually-
underneath the seat that folds and then put the fold down.
See, usually,
Keep running.
like me and a friend of mine always go to like Marvel movies together, and like we're both like movie talkers. We're like, oh my god, did you see
Oh,
that?
during the
that's
movie?
so cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't
not
with you, I'd
during
kill you.
quiet scenes, God, but like
No,
during
no.
scenes where it's like I don't
Action
know,
scenes is good to
not
talk
much
too.
happening.
Yeah, no, you don't talk through movies, Milo.
That sign at the
But,
beginning is
but
for
the
you.
thing is,
You'll get
it's
there.
thinking
You'll
things
get
out
there.
loud.
I'm
The
gonna
thing
have
is,
them
for me,
add
it's
for
thinking
Mila.
things out loud. It's just, I don't know. It's just something I do. There's no
loud.
control over it.
Think quietly in your head.
No.
Yeah.
My head's too
No.
busy.
Clearly.
Clearly.
Yeah, so
It needs
I
to
mean,
press
that's
output.
So I went to see Spider-Man by myself. And I bought the seats next to me too. Like,
Nobody
fuck this.
sits here.
Nobody's sitting near
Nobody's
me.
sitting next to me.
No way. trying to sneak their armrest and sneak my armrest with their arm. No chance.
That is my armrest.
My popcorn on one seat. Put my twisters on the other.
Oh yeah.
My jacket on one.
That's nice.
It was a packed theater too.
Yeah, but I mean,
And they're like,
that's
where are the people that sits with that guy?
They're not here. They didn't make it.
Oh, they're just
Hanging
they're
out.
not here. They don't exist.
They're in my head being quiet.
yes.
That's why you sit alone.
That's why I'm still alone. And I enjoyed every minute of it.
No.
Every minute.
So yeah, that's how I felt about the new one.
It was a rehash of the original, just not done well.
And I hate
Yeah.
it.
It was.
Again, obvious
And they
cash
did a
grab.
lot. Yeah, it was definitely like I said. I mean, I feel that it was a sequel that nobody asked for, but was very excited to get.
Could have been very cool.
Could have been amazing.
Really good.
Great potential.
The sequel we
Trashed
didn't know we wanted, but definitely didn't get what we deserved.
And the way that they opened it up, right? And I was like, wait, this is the same exact way that they opened up part one, but then they kind of explain that it's like, oh, so it's a program that's being written, and these guys they kind of hijack this program and they watching a video. It took me about 20 minutes to figure out what the hell was going on in the beginning.
Well, that's probably why I
Question.
fell asleep.
So here's where I have another issue with this. So when he was coding, right, he was coding the module that he, this is the mode here, that's my little thing. Mm-hmm. Why was he coding in Matrix language? Why wasn't he coding in regular code? C, C++, whatever. Give me any code that you want. Let him be using real code, because people in the real world don't know how to read Matrix code, right?
Well, I think what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I think what it is he coded in Matrix code because
Like on his screen, you can see like the Matrix
But I think he
code
did that
coming
on purpose because somewhere in his head he knew that somebody was going to understand what this was and he couldn't know. Because and I think that's why he did it like that, to find other people that could do it. Like, because I think that's how the girl there with the blue hair, when she was like, I think she was talking about, okay, somebody is writing this program for us to find it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why he was doing it in Matrix code, because in his head he was like, I know this from somewhere and I can't figure out why.
Yeah,
so
but
if I
she
just
said-
do it like this, somebody that knows what the hell this is going to find it.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's kind of how I mean, because I'm with you.
Yeah,
Because
I
I thought
hear
the
you.
same thing
Yeah.
too. Like when I first saw it, I was like, what that?
Why?
Really? What?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I played it off in my head, and that's how I just accepted it. Maybe.
But are they saying that the rest of the world also codes in that Matrix code, or no? Or does everybody else use regular coding languages?
Well, everybody
And-
that's still plugged into the Matrix clearly uses the quote unquote, regular code, and just people that are unplugged that know how to read Matrix code can read Matrix code.
Yeah, but everybody in the Matrix that was working with him, because he couldn't have been the only coder, right? Like I've been
Right,
a developer,
right.
It was a bunch of them.
There must have been hundreds of them if that game was so big.
Yep.
And so if that's the case, all of them would have had to have been able to read the Matrix code that he wrote, if he wrote.
Unless he's not sharing that code with
Maybe
the
just
other
that.
people, with the
Maybe
rest of the
that's just for
staff.
him.
That's just for him.
All right.
Because I think what it was is like when he was looking at it, like when he was kind of like spacing off when he was in his office, then the other guy comes in. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, no, I'm just kind of just messing around a little
The
bit."
modal, yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, all right, whatever," and he kind of like just passes it off. So maybe
I
he,
thought that whole part of him coding, I thought that all was ridiculous. Honestly, like him being a coder, whether it's coding Matrix or a game that kind of seemed like a Matrix game, I think that whole thing was just ridiculously bad written. It felt like, did you see the movie Free Guy?
I did.
No.
I saw
It
it.
looked
Ryan
interesting.
Reynolds?
Was it good?
That was a great movie.
Oh, yeah,
I
that
heard
was a lot of fun.
movie.
That was a lot of fun to
That was a better
watch.
Matrix movie than this Matrix movie, because it's the same thing. He figures out he's a program within a game,
That's cool.
and then he wants to be not a program. He
It
wants
looked
to be
really
real.
interesting.
oh, Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
like
To
be a
Matrix
real
meets
boy.
Pinocchio. It's amazing. It's just, it's a popcorn movie. Again, don't
Yeah.
think too hard.
Yeah.
But it is fun, and it's Ryan Reynolds. So
Ryan
he's
Reynolds.
Yeah,
funny
it was
shit
a lot of
anyway.
fun. Yeah,
The
I watched that in
references
theaters.
and the things, and we got to do a whole episode on this movie. But the
Yeah, oh, yeah.
references and everything that
Lot
they
of-
pull
lot to
into
unpack
it,
there.
there's a lot of unpacking in this movie. So if you get a chance to watch it, and we'll redo it.
All right, I'll get in on
It's
that.
just a
Yeah.
fun
Yeah,
movie.
it is a fun
but
movie.
it's a more fun Matrix movie.
That sounds
It's a
great.
better Matrix movie than the Matrix, the new Matrix movie. So I'll give it that heads up on that one. So yeah, definitely see the Free Guy. All right, what else? So let's go back to the second and third movie.
I feel like we just unloaded a whole bunch of dumb.
So we
on the
talked
fourth
about
one.
the fourth movie. No.
Yeah, right?
We dumpster fired the fourth movie like nobody.
By all means, go watch it.
Yeah, if you have nothing else to do, that's kind of one of those. Now that I know, if it was playing on the inside of my eyelids, I wouldn't watch it
If
again.
you've never seen the Matrix movies,
I'd stay
go
awake
watch
and not
them.
blink
The
until it's
first
over.
three.
There you go. Yeah.
100%. If you've never seen the Matrix movies, definitely go watch the first three. They were, the first one will blow your mind, and the second and third one were fine. Like they got the job done.
On speaking to that, would you say could you watch the fourth one without having watched the first three, or at least the first
100%.
one?
Yeah, well, I don't see why not. I don't think they reference back to anything that they didn't like explain or give
There's
exposition
enough exposition on to kind
Yeah.
of explain what they're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, you
They're not
can watch
leaving
the
anybody
fourth
hanging,
one.
and I
You
think
won't
that's done
really
on
miss
purpose.
There's a lot of
because
give and
it's
take
such a-
with that,
There's
though,
such a long
sometimes.
period of time.
But
Yeah.
there's also a lot of stuff in the fourth movie that they reference to the first one that you'd be like, oh, that's that thing. Oh, that's
Yeah,
that thing.
if
you know?
you've seen it.
And
Yeah.
just so you'll appreciate it,
Right.
pills and
But it's not necessarily necessary to have seen it.
But you-
necessarily.
Because the
I mean,
thing
you have a
is,
deeper
for some
understanding of
people,
what's
it'd
going
be
on.
a tall ask to watch all the three movies before you could watch this one movie.
well, it might be a tall ass, but
for
it's a
some
worthwhile,
people,
'cause the first three
which
were better.
they saw.
It is.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is until you see the fourth one, and you're like, "Fuck,
Why did I do that?
why did I do that?" I should've
Dang,
just
maybe
watched
I
the
would
third,
enjoy
first three
this
and
a
not
little
bother.
bit if I'd never heard of The Matrix before.
I think, though that they explain a lot of things in part 4, if part 4 was the first Matrix that I watched, and where he first meets Morbius, and he's like, wait, don't say Morbius, and they kind of explain it, my head is automatically going, well, shit, if you're not the same one, I want to watch the one that has the real one in it.
Yeah.
So it's going to make you go back. So do you
Lord
need
knows
to watch...
Lawrence Fishburne's
Right.
got it.
I mean,
is-
do you need to watch the first 3 to watch number 4? No. But if you watch number 4 by itself,
Yeah.
they do reference a lot of the first
Yeah.
ones that
Yeah.
makes you go, well, shit, now I need to... I
That
feel like I need to
actually
watch the
happened
first
to me
ones.
with
You'll appreciate
Star
it.
Wars. I watched the what was the first one of the newer movies?
Force
Yeah,
Awakens.
I watched The Force Awakens and I was like, I had never watched anything Star Wars before, and I was like, that looks really cool.
We got to deal with this shit.
So
Not a
then,
good
so then I
one.
went
Not a
back.
good one
I'm
to start
sorry,
with.
I'm newer, I guess. But like, but
her
then
Star Wars.
I
Leave
went
her alone.
back. I went back to like watch the other movies, and I was like, this is so cool. And then the new movies. And then the new movies came out, like the like, what was it, like 8 and 9 or something, and I was like,
No question,
that's
you have to
bad.
go. You got to
That's
start
very
with 4,
bad.
5, 6
Yes.
in Star Wars.
Well,
Yeah, no,
so
no, I
do you
did. Oh,
watch
my
it
bad.
in
No,
order
I
that
did
it came
start with-
out, or do
No
you
way.
start with 1?
No, you got to go 4, 5, 6.
Gotta go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3,
Oh,
and then
I
7,
think
8,
I
9.
Now that
did.
I've
I
seen
actually
all
think I did
9,
1, 2,
I
3,
can
4, 5,
go
6.
in order.
I think I did.
I mean, you can go in
watched
order
it
if you
in,
need
like,
to- if
number-
you really
because
need
I
to,
knew
like, what's
I knew
everything,
4, 5,
all the
6 was
backstory.
first,
Well, there's two
but it was
conversations
like I did do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I watched them again.
You went 1 through 6 first, and then you watched.
Yeah.
Which,
I was like,
which makes sense. I get that. But like,
Yeah.
if you really want to, so like my son is 6, and I'm going to introduce him to Star Wars. He's going to start with 4.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing with
Yeah,
Christian.
yeah.
My neighbor, shout out to Matt,
Hey, Matt.
is
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Matt he started his son at like 4 or 5 years old watching
Yeah.
the fourth one. And the coolest part was I went over to his house. Matt's gonna remember this. And he had convinced his son that that the Jedi was real and that the Jedi code was real and that he was like, the Jedi code is to like
You get in the
will
book?
always
Should get on the book. The Jedi
I'm
Code.
sure he has the book.
Okay.
I didn't check, but I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. Matt's a huge fan, and so like he'd be like,
have it somewhere.
"Hey Joshua, what's the Jedi code?" And he knew the whole thing, and it was all like, be a good person, be helpful. I don't
got the
remember
book.
everything, but it was awesome.
book.
It
Nice.
was really awesome. So it was cool. to see that.
That's a pretty good way
That's
to
really
bring your kid
cool.
up. People are
Great
like,
by me. Yeah.
Right then and there, I was like,
You're like,
"This is
what
good.
movies
This
should I
is
show my
really
child
good."
first?
5, 6.
But yeah.
Start with 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to skip any. You can, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Just to get the full.
Yeah.
It's
For continuity's
recommended.
sake.
Yeah.
It's recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
because I mean they kind of hit on a lot of different things that you see throughout the Star Wars universe, and that's actually I'm sure that we'll get into Star Wars at some point too. But that's one thing I really like about just the Star Wars franchise. It encompasses everything and everything Star Wars is technically canon. So like, you're watching The Mandalorian. Don't worry, Mila, you'll finish it.
No,
There's
I did
things in
finish
The
it. I did.
What?
Yes, I finished it.
Nice. Nice.
In The Mandalorian, they talk about things that are in the regular Star Wars that we've seen like movie by. So it's like, I
Yeah.
really like that they do that. It encompasses everything and just, that's probably one of my favorite franchises ever as far as entertainment-wise goes.
Yeah, and they've done
That's
there's so
reasonable.
many people that have written additional stories.
Yeah,
Oh
even
my
the
God,
extended
yeah.
universe, it's like,
Yeah,
wow,
there's
that's pretty cool.
It's
too.
a very
comic
extended.
series, there's a
Yeah.
cartoon series
Yeah.
of it. There's,
Oh, yeah.
there's so
When we get into
much.
Book
And,
of
like,
Boba Fett,
most
we
of
do a
it's
Boba
good.
Fett episode, and they bring in some of the comic references, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's very
Which
cool.
I like. Yeah, that is pretty cool. Yeah, and like I said, my son will probably do the same thing. I'll start with him 4 or 5. But it's interesting to, you said your friend Matt did that. How do they feel about that kind of thing? Where like, the technology that made that movie is not like the technology today. So if they're seeing other movies, it's kind of
No,
like,
but it holds up. It holds up. Like when you
well, the
when you
newer
go
versions
back,
will because they redid a lot of the
well,
the
if
way
you
it
went,
looks.
if
and
you were to see the actual 1977 version,
it's very
you'd be
different.
like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah.
But like the remastered version
remasters,
is
yeah.
fine, right? So you're not looking at it.
we
Going,
talked about that. I talked about that on the
Yeah.
extra long Karate Kid episode that was kind of Karate Kid based. It was a lot of there's a lot of extra stuff in there that was just totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's totally cash grabs. Let's throw a few more characters in to sell a few more toys.
Yeah.
Things like that. So in some parts, like I just want, and which we'll never get, the remastered original without any of the extra shit. I don't need the extra Jabba scene in A New Hope. I don't need Jedi with the new musical number.
You can get those. I have like a silver compilation set of the originals.
With the remastered tech, like new cleaned up.
I think it's remastered. I haven't seen it in a long time. Just I haven't opened it up because we're in the middle of a move. But it's like the originals remastered, if I remember correctly, and it's not with all the extra.
Okay, because there's been so
so I
many
think you
versions.
can
I
still
had
get it.
original Laserdiscs that were.
I think you can
Yeah,
still
I had
get it.
everything. I've had like almost every iteration.
I'm not
Laser
shocked.
disc.
I had like on tape, like 3 or 4 different ways on videotape, Laserdisc, then of course
On a-
DVDs,
Yeah.
whatever, and then streaming, of course.
Laser discs.
The laser
They were
disc,
huge.
12-inch platters.
I had the good player where the laser would turn, so I didn't have to get my ass up to go
in
switch
the middle of a
disc.
movie.
That'd be
No,
that was the
so
worst.
See the little blinking light come
Yeah,
on.
you're like, pain in the ass. I mean, it would still have like
I just
a
had
moment.
VHS
A
to worry
good
about.
one,
We
a
may
good
have
one would
just
do it
deleted
Rewind the whole
seamlessly.
thing.
A good one would do it seamlessly because they had 2 lasers and it would just pick up and keep going. But like an older, like less expensive one, the laser would actually, so it would be like a bit of black for a minute. Yeah, and then while it switched and
Yeah,
switched
but that
to the
laser
next
swapping didn't happen for a few years. Like so.
Yeah, no,
like
the first
original,
ones, you had to get your
high-end
ass up.
laser disc, you had to get up
For a few
and
years.
turn
But
it
how
over.
long, actually, you say, how long was Laserdiscs actually out for? It
Not
didn't have, it
long.
wasn't long, right?
Not long between
So-
tape
Well,
and
there was a big
DVD,
overlap,
lasers
though.
in the
There
middle.
was a big
Is
overlap.
it like one of those
'Cause
transition things?
You had the
Yeah.
12-inch.
Yeah.
It was like the big
giant.
platters. It was essentially like
Like a giant
record.
record.
Yeah, it was a record.
Oh.
It was like
Record
the
size.
size of a record, but it was like a CD the size of a record.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really big. And, you had
And
to-
they quickly
And not
made that
cheap.
into a DVD.
and that's because the density of the code
like, this is
wasn't
not working.
very good. So they had to use so much more space, and you have to turn it over
Yeah.
both sides.
Oh yeah, movie was on 2 sides. Some movies were.
And they didn't have
Oh my God.
multi-sided readers. But I think there was a big overlap between when that first came out and then they shortened it up and went to the small regular CDs, and then those picked up. But
Yeah, we had Blu-ray
there
and
was
HD,
a-
DVD, and they competed for a while.
Yeah,
until
but Blu-ray
Sony won.
didn't come out for a while beyond the regular
Sony
regular
Blu-ray and
DVD.
HD, right?
came
Yeah,
out.
DVD came out.
Yeah.
Then the regular
And
DVD, then it came HD,
then HD
and Blu-ray,
and Blu-ray.
which competed for a while until
Yeah.
Sony just ultimately won.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
It was crazy. The old technology. It's
all Matrix.
and it's kind of
It's
the
all
same
Matrix.
thing. It's kind of the same thing going back and watching the original Star Wars. Like, all right, some
Yeah.
of this stuff like doesn't quite hold up, but it does because it's Star Wars.
It does.
You know?
And it wasn't that bad. It was like, really, what did they do? They used some like black sheets with some dots on it, and then they're like,
But
here's the
yeah.
thing that went down. But
Yeah.
because it was so dark,
Yeah.
you weren't
Yeah.
thinking, hey, that's a guy holding up.
That's a guy
little
holding
toy.
it.
The,
Yeah.
the thing
You
is,
couldn't see it.
something that Star Wars does so well is it immerses you so much in the world that you don't think about, hey, isn't that just a guy with a stick or something?
yeah, that's
You're
right.
like you're too into it to go like, oh my gosh, is that a sheet with holes in it?
That's just a
you
dude in
know?
a suit.
You know,
Like a
it's
rubber
like
suit.
that's something that I love about Star Wars is that it can like it even with like all this like what little budget they had when they made the first 3 movies, they like it was still enough to just keep you in it.
And there was nothing else like it.
Yeah.
There was nothing
Yeah,
else.
I mean,
like
yeah,
And
it.
it was
that was
so
another thing.
creative the
First
ways they did it. Like it was like they didn't have a lot of money, but they did all this phenomenal stuff
They
with
invented
like
a lot of stuff to make
sticks.
those movies.
Yeah, they did.
They
Yeah.
created a lot of technology to make those movies that,
Oh, yeah.
that would
Yeah.
never been seen before. So that,
Really
yeah.
cool.
So that's what So that's what really blows my mind. We watch these movies that are absolutely huge cult movies, right? Like Star Wars. There's nothing that's gonna touch that, right?
Yeah.
Those movies were done in the 70s and early 80s. You mean to tell me that this new Matrix movie couldn't do something better than have Neo driving around with his Force Jedi fucking push? That pissed me off to no end.
His one arm is up.
Like again, and I feel I feel that seems to be the easy write-off lately because the last couple things that we've podcasted about, it's these long car chase scenes, and that's getting dubbed as the action scene.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that was such a waste of my goddamn time. It's got this swarm, and they're chasing him, and she's on the motorcycle, and he's just force pushing everybody. And that's all he did.
World War Z combined with Star Wars, where you had the World War Z zombies jumping off buildings and coming out of cracks.
Then you got the Force.
Then you got the Force push. It was super, super lazy.
But again, I revert back to the fact that she didn't really want to do it.
Yeah,
so it's just kind of like forced.
So
like,
it was
it's
really
lazy
just
writing on purpose.
But what about the whole, like, if you're going to do something,
then you do it.
It was fine. You want a Matrix movie? I'll give you a Matrix movie.
If I was going to make a movie,
don't bug me again for another one.
At the end of my career, I'd still be like, all right, well, I don't want my swan song to be this piece of junk.
This piece of garbage.
I'd want
hot circle of garbage.
Yeah, I'd want somebody to say, well, you know what? She didn't want to do that movie, but wow, she really killed it.
She
knocked it out of the park.
But
the thing is that might want them to push for another movie.
Yeah,
and another one, and another one. So there is no swan song
she
until she dies.
They said that they wanted to do a fifth, and they wanted to do other stuff like break off to like TV stuff because everybody's doing streaming shows.
Yeah,
she was like, you know what?
Lord knows it.
I'm gonna shit on this so hard.
Yeah, so they're not gonna force her to do anything else.
But here's the thing, though, with Lana doing it the way that she did it, she kind of just. I don't want to see single-handedly kill the franchise.
But I think he's saying she intended to.
Right.
So they wouldn't touch it again and make her do more.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if she didn't want to do it, you mean to tell me that you can't find another fucking director to do it?
That's a really dangerous game to play, though, because the thing is they know what the vibe is in their mind of the movie.
Right.
And when you switch directors, that causes a lot of like tone changes and everything changes. So it's a coin flip, which usually doesn't go well though.
Justice League and Suicide Squad stuff, like all of that, right? The minute you start swapping in different directors, that's a problem.
I
like
understand
this director
all that.
instead of that director, it's just it gets messy.
Even if a separate
very
director
easily.
made it good, they're still gonna need her to write the next one. She's still attached to it. It's still her property. Like they're writing.
But I wouldn't.
That's a good question.
She's under
Is
contract.
it her IP? Is it her IP for sure, or do they own it now?
See, that's what I'm wondering.
Well, I don't know. Like, how much did they sell it?
Yeah.
Did the sister sell it or sell out?
Because I mean, not for nothing.
How much
If I was the powers that be, and I want to come up with another Matrix, and I go to you and say, hey, listen, I want you to do it, but it's already on the board that you don't want to, that you want to have nothing to do, you don't want to. Why the hell am I going to force you to do it?
Well, again, because they want the money.
They
want the money, but if she owns it, kind of like Zemeckis kind of owns Back to the Future. He owns like the rights to remake Back to the Future, and he said multiple times he will not let it happen while he breathes. He will not remake Back to the Future until he's dead.
Okay,
he no longer owns it.
But I think what Larry was saying was there are so many other good stories we can write. Why are we trying to reboot 70s and 80s stories, right? Why don't we just write a new...
We've talked about
this.
I'm so sick of these reboots.
Right?
Just create something new.
Yeah.
Everything.
It doesn't make money.
I'd say like 70% of the stuff that comes out now is like a remake or another like sequel, you know?
I'll answer that question.
I'm like...
I've answered that question because I've read a lot about this because they're known IPs. They're known money makers. Something new isn't guaranteed to make the kind of money. If you look at the comic world, new comic characters don't make as much money selling issues as a Superman, as an X-Men, as a Batman ever will, as a Spider-Man.
That's why they're the most remade.
Keep rehashing stories over and over again.
I don't think that's a good analogy, though, because the whole
they've
comic,
said that.
Yeah, but the comic culture is not what it was in the 50s. Right, the 50s where it grew up. Comic books grew up in the 50s and 60s, right? And like every kid in the world had, in the United States at any rate, had was reading comic books back then. Now, like I don't know any 7-year-old, 10-year-olds that are reading.
No, they don't. It's adults
books.
that read them.
That's right.
They're made for people that were reading them back then.
You guys already know.
So what I'm saying is it's
stuff.
kind of, unfortunately, kind of a dying medium in a paper form, in a comic book form.
Yeah.
Because it's not being picked up by younger generations. So if that's the case,
they're trying, but
if that's right. So if that's the case, you have to go to the old IP. So because
same thing.
I don't know any of the new characters.
Who watched this Matrix movie?
Yeah, the people that grew up with it.
The people who grew up with the first ones.
Yeah. Right. But that's
what they plagiarized.
But that's a counter argument
that we were going to go watch it.
She wasn't invested in the Matrix movies. Mila's wasn't really interested
So
at
okay,
that
so
time.
that's the question then.
Right.
If you weren't doing this podcast, would you have gone to see it or watched it?
Like on my own, would I have just seen it,
Yeah.
even if I wasn't doing the podcast?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I saw the
She's not
first
their
one,
audience.
and
So
I
no,
was
but
I was
But
okay
you
with
have
just
to draw,
like
but you can
not having seen the
create
other
new.
ones.
You can create new stories for people in Mila's
Sure,
generation.
but they
Why
do.
not?
Yeah.
They do create
But
some stuff.
I guess
you know.
Not really.
I guess what Larry was saying is it's lazy not to try.
Right. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is lazy, but this is a known property.
It's a known
I know
property
I'm going to make money doing this.
For our generation.
And
Right,
that-
but
that's
for
what I
guys
think-
that
But
saw
like
anybody that
the newer
saw the
generation
first
is
one.
So
just
let's answer the question.
you
then.
know?
Let's answer the question. Who has more money to spend on this crap? Us or her? No offense.
We do.
Just
Yeah,
starting out.
we do.
Still in college.
But
Cash flow's not what? Full
yeah,
time.
yeah, but if you look at, let's say, kids' toys, right? This is kind of a tangent here, but if you look at
it's not
kids'
tangent.
toys,
You're right.
that's where all the money is made in toys and products.
Who buys the
kids' toys?
You do.
Parents
Yeah.
do.
But for myself,
But who wants the toys? Who asks for
Yeah,
the toys? The
absolutely.
kids do. Okay, and so.
But
when
that's
the
why you
kids-
have kids-based stuff like new He-Man, new.
No, but what I'm saying is, let's say Mila's generation or younger can say, "Look, I really want to go see this movie. This movie looks really cool." And Dad, give me $20. I gotta go see a movie. And you know that happens all the time. We did it when we were kids. We went to see all the cool movies.
Yeah.
You know, Star Wars. We went to see it
But there's
because
still new movies out. There's still new movie
Why
stuff.
not?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
and then Kanto. There's still new stuff out there.
Yes.
Spider-Man was definitely for
your
everybody.
and Into Spider-Verse was a cool
Yeah.
new take, right?
Sold a lot of toys.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, you're right about the IP, and our, you know, we have more money to spend on it, but you still could write new good stories for newer generations to get dialed into, to be interested in, to
Yeah.
But you're saying
not
new,
need to
you're saying new good
leave
stories
us,
based
like,
on new
leave,
IP,
leave some people in
or
the
new
dust, you know?
new stories based on old IP.
You could do both. You could do both. But
Right.
I think Larry was saying just create a new good story on different IP.
A new IP, different, something
Yeah,
brand new,
something new, which is not easy to do. I'm not saying it's easy to do.
not easy to do, and not a
But it's-
guarantee.
Nothing's a guarantee, but
Well,
it's
it's not
worth
as much
doing.
of a guarantee.
And
It's
the
worth it.
and the
But
fourth Matrix
doesn't
movie
that
was a
sound
guarantee.
lazy?
Case in point,
Doesn't that sound lazy to you, though?
case in point, the new Karate Kid movie it didn't do nearly as well as Cobra Kai is doing.
Yeah, but Cobra Kai is
which
a
is
good
dragging
story.
old actors out of mothballs.
Yeah, but they
and
have
sticking them on TV.
they have hours and hours and hours to develop.
Yeah, but even the first season, it was just like it was a huge. It was on YouTube Red.
It's like #1, I think.
Yeah, on YouTube Red.
Yeah.
Who the hell knows what YouTube Red was? But you were saying it did better than that stupid Karate Kid movie with Jaden.
Because it played on the heartstrings of all the people that are our age that were that remember
But
watching
that
the
new
first
movie
one.
was not
Yeah.
for us.
Watched it.
That new movie
it
with
wasn't.
Jaden.
Sure it was.
Man, I'd
No,
love to
that
have
was-
one of
that was
those.
for new kids.
Where I'm like,
That
oh my
new
god, they
movie-
remade so and so
Hila,
movie.
Hila, that new movie was for not us.
You talking about the one that
game-
just came out recently?
the,
That was a
the
couple
Will
years ago?
Smith's son with
Yeah,
Jackie
that-
Chan.
but that was a remake of the first one.
Yeah, but it wasn't right. It wasn't.
essentially
You're right.
it was.
It wasn't. Like it kind of tied because it had Miyagi. The story was different. It was Kung Fu Kid and whatever.
But it was a kid
enough.
who was beat up,
Yeah,
learning to defend
right.
himself, and
But
then
it
he wins
wasn't
the
for
tournament.
us.
It was literally a
It wasn't
rewrite.
for us. That was to introduce a new generation
To the same
to
old
the
story.
story.
Right,
So
but
it was made for them, but it
I think
sucked.
what that one was though,
And
it
it
was
tanked.
for people like us to go, oh my god, I remember when I watched Karate Kid. Let
Yeah.
me bring my kid.
I'm gonna bring my kid
we
to an
got,
updated
We
version.
got disappointed with it because like this is bullshit. But it was I think that one. You always use that. I think it was switch and
But
bait.
even the kids
It was a
didn't
switch
You
like
know
and
that
bait.
what?
movie.
When I saw the
Definitely a switch
Jaden
and bait.
Smith Karate Kid, because I watched it in theaters when it came out when I was a kid, I thought it was really cool.
No, it was
because I was a kid.
It was
I didn't have
good.
that knowledge I have now. I'm like, oh my god, this is so garbage. I was like 5, and I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, and it
oh
was
my
updated.
gosh.
It was updated. Everybody, so kids, newer kids,
Yeah.
you know, can relate, and that's
Yeah.
important. But like that's the exception, right? That's not something that. So, one thing about your point, you're absolutely right. It's easier, it's more reliable to redo old IP.
Right.
But why can't we, like Larry said, just work hard to try to make better IP? Right?
You said it in the sentence.
You could
to
create.
work hard.
Well, that's the problem, right?
It's easy.
And
The
that's-
machine can crank out
Yeah,
old
but
IP stuff.
the Matrix
then
was
sit there and try to
brand new
rehash-
IP
redo
when
it.
they came out, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars was brand new IP, and we talked about it, how like it's something never done before. That certainly could happen again. There are millions of books
No, I
that
agree.
people write every year, and some of them are great. And why couldn't you take some of those And
Well, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't see everything. There's a ton of stuff that comes out every year that I'll never watch. That's
Yeah.
based on books. It's based on stuff.
Right.
And it's just not hitting like a Matrix. It's not hitting like a Star Wars.
Right.
Certainly not hitting like the Marvel stuff, which is now all over the place. Like that is
Right.
such a dominant force. It's
Yeah.
kind of like get on board.
it's
or get
well
out of the way.
established. It's well established.
Yeah, get on board or get out of the way. You know what I mean? With
Also 'cause
Marvel,
it's not
you know what I
an
mean?
action
Everybody's
movie.
trying to get on board with it. You know what I mean?
Action movies are pretty exciting.
Yeah, they're
Like I don't know,
fun.
but
They
when you
keep
see
things
an
moving,
ad
right?
for something that's not an action movie, you're like,
But look
eh.
what they're doing. Look what they're doing. They're gonna make another Die Hard. They're gonna make another. Stallone wants to do another Rocky.
I've
But
heard,
I'm
I've
okay
heard
with
rumors
that.
of another Top
I'm
Gun.
not okay.
I'm okay with
So-
that. You know why?
Yeah, Top Gun is coming out, I think.
Eventually.
Yeah,
Eventually.
yeah.
Eventually.
coming out this
I'm
year.
okay. You talked about this on the other podcast. I'm okay with Stallone wanting to pump out as many Rockies as he wants. You know why?
He's already made a million of them.
Stallone
Keep going.
wrote it, created it. That is him. He
Yes.
So you know
Yeah.
what? And he's played all his Rockies. They've all done well as far as consistency, as continuity. The last one he did, which was just called Balboa.
Yeah.
That was awesome. He's the old guy who was like kind of trying to hang on to the idea of Rocky and the Great. He had the restaurant, he had the pictures, and I'm okay with Stallone being Rocky till the day he dies.
The problem is I'm
okay with that.
seeing in my head. I'm seeing Spaceballs. Rocky 5,000. You know, this old Rocky sitting there with gray hair. Like I see, he's trying to make that happen.
But you know what? In his defense, I feel like Rocky Balboa is continuing to write a new story. It's not just a regurgitation of an old story.
That's another
Yeah,
thing too. It's
yeah.
always a new story.
He's continuing the series. He's saying, all right, he's grown up. He's developed. If he dies, he dies.
yeah, I don't
like,
know.
yeah,
When you had him coming back for the championship, and there was like holograms, like it was like holographic fighters. I'm like, I think we're jumping the shark a little bit.
Oh,
What,
I mean, it's
Balboa?
probably jump the shark.
Yeah.
But at least it's a new. He's furthering the story.
How many
It's not a
times can
reboot.
this a little Italian white guy beat up all these people?
Can we just stop?
Because
Can
we
we
know
stop
Rocky 3
rebooting?
wouldn't have gone down that way.
Can we not reboot anything anymore? Because can we just agree that the ones that were originally done were probably pretty darn good if we think we want to reboot
Yeah.
them?
But see, I'm with you. Rebooting drives me crazy. I understand why they do it, but I want fresh and new too. I'm not trying to advocate that they should just keep rehashing.
Yeah.
But I understand
You
why
understand
they
it.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I want new
Yeah.
stuff too.
It
I
makes
don't want to
sense,
see
like-
Rocky 5000. Geriatric Rocky being wheeled into the goddamn
cool-
ring.
Here he
Good
comes,
with that
Rocky
cane.
Balboa, and he's like,
Why is
cool
he
thing-
crawling?
Yeah.
No,
Really
he's
good with
being
the cane.
wheeled in on a
But the cool
wheelchair.
thing about the Rocky stories, though, is you say that are they recreating that story? I think they are, because in this last one, Balboa, people forget if you watched it. Rocky lost
Yeah.
at the end.
But he lost in the first one.
just
too,
ruined
so
the whole
you know what
thing
I
for
mean?
me.
Listen, I'm sorry. Actually, it was a draw. And
Spoiler.
listen, the first one was a draw.
Oh
Get
my
it right. He didn't
gosh.
lose, but it was a
And he
draw.
lost in 3 until he came back. He lost.
Oh, he
His
lost the
ass
club.
handed to him
Yeah,
Clubber, and
well,
then
yeah.
he came back
I mean,
to fight him.
well, that was an awesome movie too.
Yeah, it was a great movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm not,
They were all good except for the last one when he beats up Tommy Gunn. That sucks.
Yeah, that was really bad.
That was so bad. I think Balboa was like
But the only reason
redemption.
that was half good is he fights the fight not in the goddamn ring again. Like it's Rocky, he's supposed to fight in the ring, but how many
fights in the
movies is this
streets.
guy fighting in the ring are we gonna see?
I mean, he is a
And without
boxer.
it being,
I
I,
mean,
know, but it's the
he's-
same.
he's
He's a
He's a
boxer.
boxer. How many
That's
times have you
kinda-
see this boxer fight in the ring? It's not the same movie.
Kind
It's
of
a
where
boxer winning in the ring again, against all odds, again, with a cool training montage again.
I mean, what's a boxer
Man.
movie without a training montage?
Right.
I was
That's
about to
my
say, I was
point.
about to say,
Or
well, you
fighting
gotta
in the
have
ring.
a
You gotta be-
training
you gotta
montage.
be
You can't
cracking
not have a
open
training montage.
raw eggs
It's important.
and swallowing them whole.
Right.
Otherwise,
Running
you're not
upstairs.
boxing.
That
you know?
goes to my point if it's the same movie over and over again. That's all I'm saying. Not that they weren't good movies.
But
it's
here we
just-
are
it is the
40
same
years
movie.
later, and we're talking about it.
Yeah.
So you must have done
He
something right.
wants to make another Rambo.
Let's.
He's gonna keep making Rambos. That's another one.
First blood.
He'll make more expendable movies. You know what I mean?
Those I like.
I like the expendable
I
I
haven't
movies.
seen
Expendables-
these expendable movies.
Expendables were
What are
awesome.
we on,
They
like
hit,
5 now?
4 or 5.
Something like
They
that.
hit-
Is there 5 of them?
I think
I
so.
think there's at least 4.
Can't
So
wait for
good.
6.
But I
I mean,
think
they're so bad. They're
Expendables-
so good.
5 is gonna have like 900 stars all
yeah.
on the team.
Oh, it's so great. And you know what? They all keep signing up for it, which
Yeah,
is
that's
amazing.
right.
Because it's fun. Because it's exactly what it's supposed to do. There's
Like,
no
who's
secret.
left in that genre that hasn't been in an
hasn't been
expendable
in it?
movie?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
But that's the thing, like about the expendable movies.
Seagal, no, was Seagal in one of them? I think Seagal, but I think they don't want to touch that
No,
one.
I hope they don't touch Seagal.
No one wants to touch Seagal. Have you seen it?
I saw something real quick. It was like a fight scene with him and George St. Pierre, and I was like, "Oh my God, you fat bastard, you suck!"
Yeah.
I was such a Steven Seagal fan when I was younger. Him in the
We just
three
touched
title
into our
movies.
Steven Seagal episode.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's
that's
okay.
how that happens.
That's right.
But I saw something on.
Episodes definitely spark other episodes of the
Oh
show.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love the Steven Seagal movies growing up. Awesome. But yeah, the clip that I saw with him and versus George St. Pierre. Now, George St. Pierre, he's an MMA fighter. If you don't know who he is, he's retired. He's probably one of the one. He was in the UFC. Huge fighter. Awesome guy. He's done actually other movies. Steven Seagal is this fat guy in a little suit
Hey, I feel very good about myself right now.
Listen, Steven Seagal is quite puffy, and you could see
He's
like
very puffy.
he's very
Puffy's a
puffy.
Change
good
your
word.
vocab.
And, he's got like a bulletproof like Kevlar outfit because he's playing a cop, and
Poncho, it's basically a tarmac.
pretty
yeah.
much, and he's
You can
fighting
call
George
Omar
St.
the 10
Pierre.
Get that thing shit made. That racist? I don't care.
George St. Pierre is taking these shots from fat Steven Seagal, and I cringe because Steven Seagal now sucks. And that's all I have to say.
Wait. That implies that he was ever good.
Yes, above the law.
He was good. What are you talking about? Stop that.
I mean-
you gotta stop right now. You know, above the law, marked for
Yeah,
death.
those are good.
Come on.
Oh my God.
Those were good.
Great. That's right in there with Van Damme. It's the same shit.
Is that great as in great
Different,
or
but
great
at
as
least
in wow, that was
Van Damme
bad,
had the
but
corporation,
also
physicality,
different
great?
division.
Van
Like,
Damme had the
where's
splits,
this coming
man.
from?
If you can do the splits, you're automatically a ninja.
Yeah,
everybody knows that.
I mean, yeah.
You can do 360-degree helicopter.
Of course.
You can definitely you can do hurricane kicks. You can do anything. You can do anything.
Yeah.
But he'd be over there
Duh.
breaking bones
What
and
else is
shit.
a ninja
Like, come on.
supposed
Seagal was awesome in his own way. I love Seagal's movies.
I love Seagal's-
Hard to Kill.
Yeah, like,
come
yeah,
on.
those three title movies, like
Oh,
all
yeah.
these, they just had the 3-word titles, and that was it. It was like, oh my god, hey,
mean, it
Bill
wasn't-
Bobby Lupo.
Yeah.
I mean, come
I see Bobby
on.
Lupo.
Anyway, as we
I see
digest,
Richie. That was my. Oh my God.
yeah, you see Richie, you guys see Richie.
No, I did Bobby Lupo.
I mean, come on.
I'm gonna keep coming back to somebody seen Richie.
He always plays the same exact character.
It's the same guy.
I love that
Same
sometimes
character.
when the actor plays the exact same person
And
every
then
single
he
time.
did on
like
Deadly
Schwarzenegger.
Ground and tried to. That's when he started his preachy. Messaging when he did on Deadly Ground, which is in Alaska with the oil light pipeline and all that
Okay.
kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
those
I
were,
didn't see
that was
that
done after the Under Siege movies.
Yes.
Because I think he did 2, maybe 3. of
No, he
those.
did Under Siege 1, then he did On Deadly Ground. Under Siege 2 came later.
Oh,
after
okay.
On Deadly Ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's when he got into like his whole preachy.
Yes, messaging and stuff like that.
Anyway.
Yeah. Interesting.
As we digest.
Yes, as we digest, as we do on this show. So, all right. So we're a little over an hour. Is there anything want to wrap up on The Matrix?
I think it's really cool.
I think it's,
I think it's one of the neatest movies I've ever seen.
that you've never seen.
What?
I mean, absolutely go see the first one. And
Yes.
then I would recommend
phenomenal.
finishing the series with the second and the third.
Yeah.
The fourth
And then finishing
one,
it there.
Only if you're hungry for more, but I probably wouldn't see it again.
I mean, it's kind of like one of those, like, I'd like to see a dumpster fire just because I want to see the train wreck happen.
I
So
mean,
go
it wasn't-
watch it. Like,
look,
yeah,
Yeah, but at least
it
make
wasn't
it so
poorly made on
bad
HBO Max.
that then it's good instead of like trying to be good and then
That's
bad.
one thing I'll say.
you know?
If you're gonna watch it, it's free on HBO Max. If you already have, don't get HBO Max to watch it. But if you already
Yeah.
have it, I can watch it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna cost you anything extra. Other than
It wasn't
$2
poorly
you like,
made.
get
It
back.
was
See-
a well-made movie, but
Yeah.
like it was just. I feel like it was.
I
lazy
think
writing.
for me there was a
Didn't
lot of
hold up.
misses.
It didn't hold up.
It was just
I
a
have
lot of
I have an
misses.
HBO Max account
Could've
and
been
I've
better.
decided I am not gonna watch it
Not gonna
anyway.
sully your
I'll
HBO
watch
Max
the third
account
one
by having that in your history.
and then I'll just stop it there so it doesn't go, hey, you missed one. And I go,
Yeah.
no, I didn't.
didn't.
So
I've heard
You
3 other
missed a lot
accounts
of
that
work
say
there.
otherwise.
I would say I've been actually missing it, Bob.
I got a meeting with the
They're like,
boss.
would you like to watch it now? And I
I've
go,
actually been missing
no.
it.
I mean,
Thanks,
Actually
but
missed
no
it.
thanks. I'll pass.
What is it that
I
you
think
say
Bruno
you
said
do here?
Yeah, I think Bruno said it. It's like they tied it up with the third one. They tied it up. It was a good ending. I thought it was a great way to go. I was okay with it. The fourth one, I wanted so much more, and where they pulled just enough on the nostalgic heartstrings. I was like, oh, and then that quickly got dismantled by some stupid ass storyline arc
Yeah.
that they were going into. And at the end of it, I was like, F you, you took my money. I wish I saw this at home instead at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon where I could just hit pause, walk
You
around.
didn't take my cue,
you know.
Larry. You didn't take my cue.
Well, I saw it the first night it came out. So
I know.
overall, I love The Matrix 1, 2, and 3. Part 4 can.
Die in a fire.
Can just crawl in a hole and
could
die quietly.
I could come up with so many things, but I don't want this to go to like rating be that explicit. So.
Rated not just
So
R,
it's okay.
M now.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, see, they say, I forget what the movie is. It could die of gonorrhea and rotten out.
Yeah, shit.
Perfect.
That was Ace Ventura. Dan Marino can die of gonorrhea.
Oh,
and
yeah,
rotten
yeah.
out.
I don't remember that part.
It was one of my
That's
favorite
so. That's
parts.
how I feel about.
There it is.
The
All right.
Matrix. There it is.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for that. That was a great episode. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed that.
Ended on a high note.
Definitely ended on a high note. I want to thank Mila,
Oh, thank you.
Larry,
Hello, thank you.
and Bruno.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that
We
was
don't talk
fun.
about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno. All right, everybody, don't forget to find us online at entertainmentrants.com. Send us an email, anything you'd like us to podcast about at engageentertainmentrants.com. And find us on all of our social media, Entertainment Rants, and on Twitter at Entertain Rants. All right, everybody, go out there and keep ranting, everybody.